Hi everybody, Steve the Amateur Historian. It's a beautiful day. It's supposed to be 83 degrees. It's Labor Day as of this recording, which obviously won't be when I post it. It's not how my channel really ever works. And I'm doing the best I can, not becoming a prisoner of my temporal medical situation, if you want to call it that. It's not bugging me too much. It's just, still feeling that kind of pressure through here that I've just been feeling the whole time. I have, upcoming, I'm actually finally going to get, I finally got a primary care provider who's going to get me checked out by people who actually are, head people. So that's nice. It's going to take a month of dealing with this before that finally happens, but at least it's finally happening. Another reason, I'm an advocate for things like universal health care. What I have with the Oregon Health Plan is about as close to universal health care as you can get in this state. That's obnoxious. And I hate the fact that even with, medical health care and even with wanting to get this dealt with, that, I went and saw and again, this is the opening. This is the only time I'm going to talk about my medical stuff, because I did almost a 40-minute video talking about it. I talked about it off and on. My therapy walk video I did, this is essentially another therapy walk video. That I'm just going to be doing this a couple times every so often. Helps me deal with it. I spent so much time in bed being paranoid about what was going on, and I'm not going to let myself, I'm not going to tear myself down like that, like I tend to do with when random medical things happen and it becomes this prolonged thing and I just want to curl up in bed and kick the world out the door. But all that said, anyway, I hate that I got my first appointment with my primary care provider, and in that meeting he left the room and came back, and by the time he came back for us to finish, said, requested this and that, further testing for you to see like a neurologist and someone who really knows head stuff. It's going to be pretty much 2 weeks between when that was requested and when these things are going to happen. And I hate that I literally am going to have to wait an extra 2 weeks from when I had that appointment to get these tests and whatnot. Because I understand that's what a lot of people are worried about when they think about universal health care, more people being covered, there's going to be longer wait times for stuff. And as much as I hate that I'm having to continue being patient and sucking it up and dealing with it, that stress and that strain is not enough to shift me like a total lazy ass hypocrite and say that the millions of people that don't have medical coverage, well, now that I'm having to deal with the wait times, now I'm kind of retracting on that. That's a bunch of nonsense. Everybody has the right to, they say we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So if we have the right to life, then we should have the right to proper medical coverage to maintain that life when we need it. There's people out there that could be dying and not even know it because they can't even go in for a checkup. That's messed up. So just because I'm in a pretty decent situation, I literally just got back on the Oregon Health Plan recently, and then this thing started, so the stars aligned for me. But just because my situation is cushiony for right now, first of all, it doesn't mean it always is going to be, and second of all, it doesn't mean that everything in the world is right now that I have good health care. That's that's one of the big problems we have in the world. Is I try not to get too preachy, because my purpose in doing this video today is I'm just going to go out and see a little bit of the world that I live in, that I may or maybe not have not vlogged in much. But yeah, we live, unfortunately, America is a place where a lot of people, even good, decent people, have a tendency to think that because things are going okay in their life, things are going okay in their family's life, that things in the world, the country around them, really aren't as bad as people make them out to be. And it's like, well, that's convenient for you because you're in a much more fortunate situation probably than millions and millions of other people. Anyway, that's it. No more medical talk. The purpose of this thing is therapeutic, getting out in the sun, relaxing, chilling, just taking in things around me, No specific organization or anything like that. I'm just gonna go out and see things. That's the purpose of this. It's just another therapy walk. Well, this is dangerous. We're just on this little island. Alright, so I've arrived in the Hollywood area. I'm not really planning on hanging out in Hollywood. I'm just this is just where I got off the Max. This is the infamous Max stop where the stabbing happened a little over 2 years ago by a guy who was a member of an alt-right group. Been involved in some of the protests going on in this city. Groups that talk about how they don't instigate violence, and yet this guy friggin' stabbed 2 people to death. How's someone supposed to know when to turn? When the light... Look what happened to this thing. I don't know how well you can see it. This has been all bent inward, and it's literally obstructing the turn signal. Oh, Trader Joe's. I was thinking about what kind of healthier food I want to buy. The problem is I'm not coming to the end of my walk. I'm only starting. Otherwise, I'd stop here if I knew I didn't have to lug a bag of food with me. Of course, before I start making my way in a new direction, there's places that have to be seen. Here, this is the backside of one of the coolest... Ah, crap. I don't know if I had to walk there. Anyway, one of the coolest buildings in Portland. This is, I guess you just call it the east side of the Hollywood Theater. Bunch of whatnot. There's a stairwell up there. I think it was built in 1923, I think is what it said. I remember walking up alongside this and thinking, what is this? And I got to the front and I realized, oh, it's the Hollywood. I've been here before, just always from the front and around the corner. It's very adorable. And so are you guys. Hey guys. Coming out on Sandy, which is kind of the main thoroughfare through Hollywood area. I'm gonna be going a little bit more kind of this direction. Ooh, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I've seen a movie or two in this joint. I remember when me and my girlfriend first started dating, we went here on Valentine's Day. It was actually the first Valentine's Day that I actually had a date. I was like 26 years old by then. Anyway, we're not going to go down that avenue. And we came and we watched True Romance here, which is interesting because that was a film that Quentin Tarantino wrote, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood that's playing there now. This is a Tarantino film. But yeah, we've come here a couple of times. We did like a double feature thing. I saw 2001: A Space Odyssey for the first time there. Yeah, it's just real cool, it's a real piece of city history. And I figured if I'm going to be passing through Hollywood, especially coming in right behind it, I might as well give it a quick stop-see. Alright. It's a little warm, but I'm getting off Sandy because that's, again, I'm trying to be nice and chill. What the hell is this? I tell you, even when I'm not urbexing, I find busted TVs everywhere. And it's just in front of this is business permanently closed. I seem to be a catch-all for randomly discarded televisions. Am I safe to cross? Yeah, I kind of wanted to get towards the Grant Park, Alameda area, which is pretty close to Irvington. I might even walk into there. Just about taking in a little more of my city and being cool. Kind of like this building over here. And this is kind of an area with a lot of old stuff mixed with the new. I remember I was shooting a bunch of footage just kind of around Portland, and I one day started in the Hollywood area and just kind of started meandering northwest of there. I just remember just the vibe, the residential vibe. There's certain neighborhoods in Portland that bring me a sense of calm and also inspire me to admittedly be something better, or not better, that's kind of a douchey way to put it towards myself, but to just do more with my life, make life a little bit better. And that is really, a lot of things have started to open up to me that I just was ignoring, not paying attention to, letting fears distract me, letting a lot of things distract me. But it really has kind of come to a point, if that makes sense, in my mind in terms of thinking about my future and the progression forth. Especially having all this time that, you know, I've been having this head thing and having a lot of time to kind of just sit and think. And try not to think about the medical thing, but just thinking about my life and my future. And I go to these neighborhoods and, like, even though I may never make it to neighborhoods this awesome, there are always things I aspire to. Certain parts of Alameda, parts of the Buckman neighborhood, Sellwood, residential Sellwood, I absolutely love. Irvington, I absolutely love. Of course, beautiful, calm neighborhoods, often very expensive to live in. This looks very cute down here, but I think that can end up being the most charming road I ever go down, and yet I decided to turn and go another direction. Again, there's no set plan to what I'm going to do today. This is just about reconnecting with the world outside. Something that I've been not doing a whole lot of recently, and I really feel it in me that this is subsiding a little bit in terms of how much it affects me. It's either that or I'm finally deciding to not let it affect me as much, and therefore it isn't. But I'm just making the best with the time I have, and this is very interesting. Turned on to Cesar Chavez. You can't really see the sign, but Cesar Chavez here it used to be 39th, and it's such a busy street, and right here is where it kind of ceases to be a busy street and just kind of becomes a residential road like the rest. It might get big again further up, but it's so interesting. Like I'm not walking down Cesar Chavez right now. I'm walking down just some residential whatever street. But it's cool, these busy streets, they come and they go, they appear and they disappear. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, I think I do. Grant High School's a little off this way. Kind of want to edge that direction. And this is something else I really love about these certain neighborhoods. Besides that just great sense of calm you can take in, is, for the most part, it actually kind of opens up a little bit here, but these neighborhoods have done a really good job of, like, maintaining the tree life. Like, you see it a lot more this way. Just that I love, that is so comforting and welcoming to me, are these neighborhoods with lots of trees surrounding the houses. I get goosebumps just thinking about living in such an amazing spot, because I've never really lived anywhere that's that great. I mean, I'm grateful for the places I've lived in, but I really love these neighborhoods that are very still packed with trees in this city. And I always hope to kind of somehow, someday eventually I'll end up in one of these places. And so dead ahead here is Grant High School, the newly renovated. In fact, I think the school year just started like last week. And it's funny because I work right across the fence from Marshall High School, which closed I think like in 2011. And Franklin High School kids moved in there for 2 years while their school got renovated. I hear there's already massive problems with the renovation that they did. Tiles falling out, plumbing issues. But yeah, the grandkids up here, they moved into Marshall while their school here was getting renovated. Looks pretty clean, pretty posh, and it's Labor Day, so I don't have to feel like a weirdo walking up to a high school on a Monday during the school year. Yeah, well, a lot of these schools are super old, and I don't know when they've had their last, fix-ups, but yeah, it is interesting. You get to see kind of the dynamic. Like, you could really tell the Grant High School kids were a little more affluent than other school districts, and you can tell. I mean, this is a pretty nice area. But yeah, you could really tell that the Grant kids were a little more affluent than the Franklin kids. And now Madison has just moved into Marshall while their school gets fixed up, and their school is, I think, more or less just east of here, like this direction, a few miles. So yeah, they're getting their use out of the old Marshall High School, which is one of the newest built high schools in Portland, and yet it got closed before a lot of the rest of them. I know, like, the Beverly Cleary, whatchamahoosit, like the rock park thing is over here, which I don't think I've ever been to. I'd like to give it a stop by. Actually, I think this is U.S. Grant Park over here, which I used to go to all the time with a friend of mine when I was a little kid, and I never really understood where it was located, because as a kid, you don't know where anything is in the city. You're just a kid and you got taken somewhere. So yeah, this park really ties back into my, time of my life, from the time I was like 4 till I was 10, 11, something like there. Yeah, I think we mostly hung out down that way, because I remember it being very tree covered. So yeah, a little bit of nostalgia. But yeah, and it's right next. I don't ever remember seeing the high school when I went to this park. But I'm gonna go around and see what I can see. And I do apologize. Some of these videos I'm doing, because I'm probably gonna do a few of these over the next couple of weeks until I start getting cleared out. So I apologize. Some of these might be kind of boring. A lot of me just walking around. But again, it's therapy, like anything else, and I'm exploring about, and I don't know what I'm going to see, don't know how much I'm going to video, don't know when I'm going to decide to just put the camera away, because I'm done doing that, and I just want to, be. This is actually interesting. I did a video at Pier Park, I don't know, a little over a year ago maybe, and they had restrooms that looked just like this one, except they were a lot more kind of vacant looking. I probably look like a dingleberry walking through this park analyzing these old restroom buildings, but this is like practically identical. They're very old. Don't know if they're being used. And there's another one way off that way. So I think these are restrooms. Oh no, this is like a probably maintenance storage thing, and then kind of go to the back side of the high school. There's more. So there's a pool here. I did not know that. Tennis courts and stuff. And of course I'm coming up to the park side, so I'm gonna put the camera away. Made it to the other end of the park. Understandably, once the kids show up in the background, that's where the camera goes away. Yeah, it's good and it's stressful, because I am finding myself finding two situations colliding. Well, one of you bitches stopped for me. I think the camera's scaring people. No? Here we go. No? One guy was nice enough. Oh, I'm feeling that sweat on the back of my neck. Man, my neck's probably gonna get sunburned. But anyway, what I was starting to say before I suddenly had to just wait, nobody gives you a courtesy wave anymore, not in 2019. There's so much more that I want to do with my life in terms of moving it forward. I've allowed myself to stagnate in many ways. I love a lot of the things I'm doing, but I've allowed myself to become very, you know, very isolated to a degree. And when I say that, what I'm really getting at is I've done a lot of YouTube videos, obviously, and that's mostly just me by myself doing my thing, and it's hard. It's always been hard for me as a very severe introverted guy that couldn't look people in the eyes till he was in college. It's very hard for me to acknowledge that and then take the initiative to try and connect with people more. If I'm gonna keep doing this, I would actually like to sometimes connect with other people that are into the same thing. And just in varying aspects of my life, my life has become very much going to work and going home and working on stuff. Which, I mean, I'm a workhorse. I love that too, to a point. But, you know, a lot of the times, unfortunately, you know, me and my girlfriend go out and do stuff together. So I have that, but I just want to go out and connect with more people. And I already know how I can do that, but it's so much more than that. It's, you know, I talked in my therapy walk, I kind of touched on how I need to get a new job. I've been working the same job for longer than I care to admit. I haven't felt, full disclosure, I have not felt appreciated there for a very long time. And the amount of hours and pay I get reflect that, unfortunately. I know some people appreciate me, but a lot of people don't. I don't know. Does this just wrap me around? Because I kind of want to keep going this way, sort of. Whatever. It's an adventure. But yeah, and that's a big deal. And unfortunately, you know, the biggest, oh man, this house is it's all gutted. That's crazy. They're obviously restructuring it. This house is completely gutted inside. I need something new. I need something fulfilling. It's not just about the money. It's not just about the hours. It's about having something new. Having some freshness in my life, which is obnoxious because it's the kind of stuff my dad would always randomly say to me. You need to get some of that variety in your life. I to this day hate that term because my dad would throw it at me all the time. But there's so many things I want to change about my life. You know, not full 180, just keeping what is good about your life with new, fresh additions. I want to connect with people more. I hate going places by myself all the time. While I have the comfort of being like, oh, it's just me, I don't have to worry about any encounters that I don't want to deal with. You know, at the same time, I hate, you know, if I'm on my own, I'm going somewhere, and, you know, I go through town, and I see all these people hanging out with each other. And I love hanging out with people. I just constantly put that fence up. That introverted fence I kind of, you know, put up. And I'm really kind of done with all that. I'm done with procrastinating or just being scared of doing these things. Life is too short, and I'm not in my early 20s anymore. I'm in my early 30s, which means I have a lot of time left, hopefully. But I've also, you know, I'm also a good chunk of the ways into my life, and I need to quit waiting for things to happen. Quit waiting for the day that I might someday find a better home in a neighborhood like this. You know, I totally appreciate the fact that I have a home right now. I appreciate where I live, but, you know, obviously it's not the end for me, you know. Okay, I'm coming up to Knott Street, so I'm starting to get a little further north than I want. I'm just gonna start going this way, and I'll probably ultimately end up in Irvington. And again, you know, I don't really know where these videos are gonna go. So again, a lot of it's just been me talking to you. Once I get some of that off my shoulders, I'll probably become more me, like videoing random things I see, showing you just kind of where I'm at. It's very nice. It's so nice in this area. In certain areas, maybe not right here specifically, but kind of scattered in various. It used to be a rough area. You go back, you know, 30 years ago. But anyway, I'm there's a lot going on in my head, and there's a lot to process, and there's a lot I plan on doing. The moment this situation gets handled and I actually see the right people about it, yeah, I'm already starting to get, I think we're on the, it's set where I'm in Alameda right now, but you get the, like, you look behind me, it's just so nice. We're only like a little ways away. We're like 10 blocks from Irvington, and Irvington is just freaking the best. But yeah, there's a lot of things I plan on doing. It sucks that I've pretty much lost like a third of my summer dealing with this, because it's just, but it's a gradual progress. I'm very motivated by the fact that, like, yeah, it's still bugging me. Like, yeah, I'm still kind of feeling the compression. But I've been walking around for a while. It's really hot. You know, I have these things that are, you know, affecting me right now. And it's not really bothering me that much. I kind of feel like in the last couple of days, it's easing a little bit, which is a very welcome sign for me. Because, yeah, well, I mean, once that happens, this looks really cool. I can't pass this up. This looks too cool up here. This just looks so peaceful. I'm gonna get hit, and there goes all my plans. So yeah, I can't even go into it. It's like every asset of my life, well, I'm reassessing every asset of my life essentially, and thinking about how do I make this more? How do I make this better? How do I connect better? How do I accept being wrong, being inaccurate more often? Just a lot of things in the life that I'm putting through some personal analysis, and I know I can do more. I know I'm capable of more, even though, you know, I'm in my early 30s, and to some outsiders it may not look like I've done a lot with my life, and that's fine. I just keep moving forward. I'm not scared of that. Oh, it's so nice. That was deeper than I thought it was going to be. Yeah, I'm just kind of still meandering a little more north. I haven't really been in this area before, so I'm just kind of essentially I'm in northeast Portland, but I'm only like, you know, 25 blocks from where North Portland hits northeast, so it's kind of, oh my god, look at this house. That is frightening. That's very frightening as well. There are definitely bodies in there. You know me, I can spot a garage with a dead body in it from 50 miles away. I am noticing too, roads are starting to get a little more beat up. Not like I'm going into a ghetto now or anything, but you do kind of notice things like this. Really depends. Stanton Street, you can just kind of see everything's a little more beat up. It's still very pretty. I'm gonna take a turn. I'm gonna start going this way. But yeah, you can just see, like, and I love it when they've got these neighborhoods where you've got the sidewalk and, you know, the grass, and then there's the trees lining it, so you have like this extra layer of trees, and then people's, you know, yards. I'm so envious of this area. And anybody who gets to live around here. It's just, it's everything. I guess I should be just grateful enough that I even have places like this to walk through that are only a short bus or a short train ride away. Yeah, I'm getting closer and closer to Irvington, so, you know, the neighborhood is only going to get nicer from here. To reality, I can't pass up this opportunity. Look at this. It's like a little bamboo shoot. Literally a bamboo shoot. This is cool. I love it. I have a video on here about I think it's technically the first job I ever had. This is so cool. Yeah, pretty much the first job I ever had. I was doing yard work for a guy for 15 bucks an hour. This is like 2005. And I actually quit the job. That's how much the guy sketched me out. He was paying me $15 an hour. I'd never worked before. I was making $15 an hour as a college kid in 2005, and I bailed after 2 days because the guy was just too damn sketchy. This is a bit. What is this? I don't know if this is an apartment or something. I don't think this is a school. But anyway, I had to think of a good reason to bail on the guy, and the reason I ultimately came up with was that I was allergic to bamboo because he had bamboo all over his yard. He was a Lake Oswego guy. Lake Oswego guy. Every time I've been in the home of somebody who lived in Lake Oswego, it was always weird. And that was just another one. But yeah, I told him I was allergic to bamboo. Long story short. Yeah, no, we have made it to, you can't see it that well, but yeah. So we are in Irvington now, if you will focus for me. Well, you win some, you lose some. Let's see. I'm gonna keep going this way. But yeah, officially in Irvington, which I should have known because it's awesome around here. I think after I cross this street, it's mostly residential for several blocks, so you have even less car sound, and there's not really that much to begin with. It's just so nice. I can't emphasize that enough. And the people are much more hospitable than they were a few blocks back. You know, one of the things I really love about this area is or areas like this is they haven't been infiltrated by the developers yet. A lot of the homes here are all, you know, they've all been here a very long time. I saw literally one, this whole area I've seen one home that is clearly very new, and literally I saw an older couple walking along and they both stopped to stare at it like it was an animal out of the wild that had wandered onto their property. Like, what the heck do you think this is? Well, I mean, again, you know, I don't know much about, you know, developers and how they do what they do. I don't really like how they do, but I get the vibe. You know, this is such a great area. You get a home in this area, you don't want to give it up. A lot of people have probably had, you know, homes passed down in their families, and just like, if you can get your hands on a home in this area, you never want to give it up. It's so perfect. If you can afford it, have it. So I think a lot of people, there's not really, and also because it's such a nice area, property is probably not super affordable, you know, for buying on the cheap, which of course that's what developers want. They want to buy a property cheap so they can make it into something expensive and get their profit that way. That's probably the loudest, most beat up vehicle in this whole neighborhood. So yeah, so I think this area probably isn't that targeted because you can't really make as much of a profit. But on top of that, you know, a lot of people probably don't want to sell. And there's probably not a whole lot of vacant homes up here. Again, if you can get your hands on a home in a place this beautiful, you would take it. So that's another thing I appreciate, is the very natural state of neighborhoods like this and other ones that haven't been overly penetrated by the development disease, which is really what it is, that has just permeated this city and makes it harder and harder to live here. Like, you look down there, beautiful. You look down there, beautiful. You look ahead, beautiful. Squirrel coming towards me, beautiful. Hey fella, how you doing? How you doing there? He's lingering. He's checking me out. Again, I don't want to blither and blather too much about my own life, especially when I'm surrounded by just I love streets that just look like this. When you look down, it's just lined with trees on each side. It's calm, it's cool, it's collected. You know, if it's beautiful and sunny every day, if it's rainy every day, it's still gorgeous looking. I love that in all its facets, but now I got distracted. Oh no, what I was gonna say is, when I get to places like this where something happens and it stays and I'm either not used to it or it's something really scary, something that brings out your worst fears and your worst anxiety, I've always had a that's not a frog. I thought that was a frog. I don't know if you saw that. It was like a folded up thing, but it looked like it was like a frog closed up. But as I was saying before I distracted myself, I find that when I get to situations like this where I am, you know, stressed, overwhelmed by something, and it takes control for a while, and now I'm trying to, you know, very casually and coolly pull myself out of it and make the best of the situation, I always end up finding myself, my state of mind shifts so much, and in a good way. It's like, it's a reminder of, like, you know, right now just having my whatever general life back feels amazing because, you know, I'm restricted right now. So it in a way shows you, like, oh my God, if that feels that great, imagine how great it is when you start doing more. So it's a wake-up call. It really is. And so in many ways, you know, depending on what my future holds, this experience, this horrible August into September experience, could end up being one of the greatest things to ever happen to me because it gave me that kick in the butt that honestly I wasn't giving myself. Oh God, just every street looks like that when you go down it. Oh, it's so good. I'm too far north. Like, I'm still in Irvington, but I'm like northern fringe Irvington. I'm gonna start meandering that way, but no, I remember one of the most eye-opening experiences I ever had was I went to University of Portland. I transferred into there. Life was terrible. My parents had just divorced. My parents had separated. My mom had moved out. I was stuck living with my dad, who was a pain in the ass to live with before that happened. I mean, he was. And of course, when the divorce happened, it was harder. And I would scream, I would curse his name every night. I was dying, I had given up on life. I was like, I'm just stuck at home, living with my father. I was 23. I just turned 23, and I was going nowhere. And I didn't care anymore. So 23, this happened. Now I'm 33. And amidst all that turmoil, I enrolled at University of Portland and got accepted, even though I pretty much had been out of college for like 2 years. I got accepted, and I went, and that school pushed me harder than I'd ever been pushed in my life, and it taught me what I was capable of. Sometimes you need to push yourself to a limit that you don't think you can get to, and even if you don't get there, you'll find that you could go a lot further than you gave yourself credit for initially. And it was great, and I went there for a year. I was ready to go. My second year was going to take about 2.5 years to get my degree, and then something happened, and my financial aid got all screwed up. And somehow, like, the tax information they got was inaccurate, and they were convinced that I was making, like, geez, I don't know, like $30,000 more than I was actually making. And literally, I had less than a month to come up with about $10,000. It wasn't gonna happen. Here I was making, I was working part-time, I was making like $7,000, $8,000 that year. I was not gonna come up with $10,000 out of nowhere. So I had to leave University of Portland. I just didn't have a choice. And I remember I was so despondent about that. I was like, you know, U of P, I was still thinking I was gonna go back, like I was gonna take a year off, but then I really realized, you know, I was done. It was costing me too much money. And I remember I had this awakening. All of a sudden I felt so motivated to be more. It's this motivation that I have to like find. It's weird. And I ended up, oh, this is cool. Even though I'm liking just continually going east, west, I'm turning south now. And I had this revival for a couple of weeks. I actually had plans on what I was going to do, and I was going to make these things happen. And then some other stuff happened. And my life got really, that was frightening. It sounded like something slapping at me. Life got really out of whack for about a year or two. And I ended up going back to college. It wasn't the route I was planning on taking, but I ended up, going back to school and starting to learn film. Brings us up to today. So in that particular experience, like, other things came along that really screwed me over. But I came out of that, depressing state of, great, now I can't go back to this college that I love going to. But it, like, revived me by showing me that I wanted more, that I was capable of more, and that I am my biggest blockade to having more out of this life. I'm the one that's decided to stay at the same job. Now, granted, it's good in many ways that I stayed at that job. I wouldn't have been able to do a lot of things I've done in film. I wouldn't be able to do this channel. I wouldn't have reconnected with my girlfriend, probably. I wouldn't have been able to move out of a really bad living situation I had if I wasn't still working there with a friend of mine. So, for the most part, I have to be, in certain aspects, grateful that I've stayed on as long as I have, but it's still too long. So, everything that I haven't quite made happen is the result of my decisions to not step up and quite make them happen. And I've gotten a lot better over the years at, taking responsibility. God, every time I step out of the shadows, my face is just bright white spot. So yeah, I've become a lot better at taking responsibility for my life, and I'm still only 33. There's still a whole lot left to do. I'm probably, honestly, healthier now than when I was 25, 26 years old, because long period of time there, I really let my health go to shit. I really did. I was just kind of overworking, eating poorly, not getting good exercise, and I'm trying to do more of that again. I've already been eating super healthy for the last, month and a half without really straying. I need to get the exercise, because, it's still possible that this is all like a tension headache. Tension headaches can come and they can affect you for like a month straight. And for me, it's been, about 3.5 weeks. Also, in another 2 days, I will have been on this indomethacin my doctor prescribed, and so they say usually it takes a week for the drug to start taking effect. So by like Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, it will have been a week. So we'll see. I'm not, expecting much, but yeah, again, tension headaches often come as a result of just completely overwhelming yourself. And for like the month and a half before this happened, I was feeling extremely overworked. I was putting way too much on my plate for my YouTube channel, which is, to my benefit, why I still have like 30 videos backlogged that I haven't posted yet, is because I was doing so much. And again, it's not just the going out and videoing them, it's the sitting down and cutting them all together. It's the research. The research is the most time-consuming part. So I'm doing that in addition to trying to do more film work, in addition to my day job. Like a lot of, 4 days a week, at least. Going to work for 7-8 hours, and then coming home and immediately going into like my film or YouTube work and doing another 5, 6, 7 hours. That was a multi-weekly thing. And I actually had done a video that I don't think I ever posted, where I literally was coming on to say, hey, I'm gonna have to dial back the YouTube stuff because I'm feeling worn out. Speaking of worn out, anybody want a worn out seat? It's just sitting here waiting for a new owner. But yeah, no, I was already, like, that's why I was changing my diet before this came. I was changing a lot of things because I was feeling completely worn out, and every day, end of the day would come and I'd be like, I feel like I got nothing done. And it's like, yeah, well, the reason you feel like you got nothing done is because you're trying to do too much. And this is for months. I've been chugging along, and then, I shot a film that I spent a whole lot of time getting together, and it was just, a merciless 17 days shooting it. Again, that was, you know, almost a year ago, but still, you know, there was that, and then just so much other stuff going on independently. It's just for months and months and months. And you have to remember, like, I only recently really started turning my diet around. My diet wasn't that great. There was a lot of energy drink consumption, and I think I just passed Simon Mish's house. I think it's this little house right here. If that is Simon Mish's house, I did it because I remember this red house being close. Or actually, no, I think it's this one with the red door. Yeah, that one. I think that's Simon Mish's house. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One of those two is Simon Mish's house. Simon Mish was a guy. I'm gonna get back to my point, but I did a Historic Murders of Portland video on that house because there was coming up to Thompson. That was his house because he lived on 10th between Thompson and I think like Brazy or Brazzy. I don't know how it's pronounced. And he was this like kind of well-to-do socialite, 70 years old, you know, liked to throw extravagant parties, and he was home one night, you know, people knew he had a lot of money, a lot of well-to-do, lots of, you know, he had a really expensive ring that vanished from his hand, and yeah, one night back in I think 1934, he was found dead in a pool in his, like a pond in his backyard, and found out that this guy who he saw socially had probably broken in and murdered him to rob him. And he was like a special officer who used to patrol the Irvington area, and he would try to he would rob people's cars. He would people think that he was a prominent creeper in the area who would grab at women on the street. He would try to run people's pets over while he was just a general lunatic. And they figured that he just went into the house and brutally murdered Simon Mish. But yeah, that was his house back there. I mean, you know, his house 85 years ago. But so yeah, I had to sidetrack. My hand is getting so sore. I've been recording for 12 minutes straight. I don't know how much space I have left on this iPhone, but this is what it's about. This is more therapeutic than making wild, awesome discoveries in this particular case, but yeah, again, just what I was saying about making more of my life and being happier with my life. That's obviously a very important thing, and that happiness may not result in me getting a big house someday, but you know, me and my girlfriend used to work together. She left her current job, or she left her job, and she's been working a new job, and it isn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but she's making about double what she was making. You know, she's making a lot more money than I am, especially this month. I am screwed financially this month. I'll be okay, but I'm honestly probably gonna make like $750, $800 this month because I've given up so many hours for the month of August just dealing. But I'm at a point where I can handle a day at work, so I'm not gonna ask for any more time off. But I tell you what, I'm getting something new, something fresh, very soon. As soon as I can get to the place. Well, and like, I want this taken care of before I start a new job. I don't want to go in as damaged goods, you know. But yeah, I have a lot planned for my future, and I need to, you know, this is a lesson in not letting yourself become overwhelmed. This could be a very serious tension headache, the result of literally overworking myself for months, practically a year, you know. And even I was seeing the writing on the wall. I was like, I need to pull back a little bit. And then I kind of was, but wasn't. And then suddenly, you know, I was feeling real tired one night, but not really bad. And I started typing stuff out on my computer. I started going, and all of a sudden I started feeling this like, oh, whoa, okay, slow down. And that was the first time I felt this tension headache, or whatever it is. And it's lingered to some extent, you know, been reoccurring since. So it actually makes all the sense in the world that this is some kind of tension or overexertion related headache that tells me I need to dial it back a little bit. I love working hard, I love being a hard worker, but I need to better focus what that particular work is going to be, and not just to, You have a tendency to, oh, now I want to do this, oh, I want to do this, oh, I want to do that too, I should start working on this, okay, and then I'll move over, and, you know, and then suddenly you've got like 3 or 4 different things you're working on, and just the like bouncing back and forth, that alone is enough to just beat you down and exhaust you, much less the work itself. So, lessons learned. Again, hoping that's, you know, the long and the short of it. And if that is the case, you know, hopefully we'll get it all figured out. And that's my place. I'm just, you know, I'm trying to feel better about this, trying to be more cool with it, and I'm trying to ride the storm out, essentially, is what I am trying to do. And, you know, just knowing that this is stressful, this sucks, it's here, it's been here, it stressed me out. It stresses me out the most in the mornings, and then I kind of get past it as the day goes on, but it's just, it's the calm before the storm, and in this case the storm is a good thing, not a negative thing. So I want to move forward, and the most important thing about moving forward isn't just making your life better, but it's about moving forward unafraid. I think that's one of the most important things for me, is moving forward and not worrying about, like, you start looking for a new job, don't be worried if the first several places you try don't work out. You have a job holding you down for now, and even though you're ready to move on from that job, you have that there to hold you in place. It could be much worse. I could be unemployed on the street desperately looking for a job, you know. In that vein, I don't really know what more to say about that situation, but it's just me. Oh, yeah, this arm is shot from holding this for so long. Well, muscle growth. I need more muscle development because I've been resting for so long, so I guess this is good to work my muscles a bit. Yeah, I traversed Irvington pretty quick. That felt good, you know. I've been able to talk this long, you know. A week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I couldn't talk continuously for more than 4 or 5 minutes before this really started bothering me, and I would start getting really hazy. So there's lots of elements of this that have softened up and aren't quite as bad, that tell me that, okay, you know, it started off really bad, and it's just taking its time to slowly soften up. Again, at least that's what I hope for as I meander. I am getting hungry, which is very rare when it's hot out. I'm probably going to be just sunburned just right here. Ah! Oh, I just kicked my toes in. Ooh, that could have been a lot worse than it was. Oh, God, that could have been a lot worse than it was. Anyway, I'm coming up to Broadway. Probably going to start making my way home. That was nice. It was comfortable. I don't know if I can cross here. I'll figure this out. It's just, actually, I don't know if I want to go this way. I'm already to Grand Avenue. Son of a bitch. I don't know. Hold on. Let's retraverse ourselves. I gotta get myself figured out. I can only assume there used to be a house over here. She got the stairs up. I gotta tell you, few things feel better than being able to talk for 20 minutes straight when before you could barely do it for 2 or 3 minutes. You know, I talk for 4 or 5 minutes and just start feeling completely overwhelmed. There I was able to talk with the sun on me and walking around and doing other stuff. I was able to do that for almost 20 minutes without really feeling a thing. I can't even begin to explain how great that feels. Knowing I'm not out of this yet, but just that alone feels so great, you know? Even 3 or 4 days ago, I couldn't do that. And I still feel, you know, alive and alert. I'm a little sore in certain areas, but I'm just saying that the emotional toll it's taken on me, the physical toll, haven't just completely crippled me down, you know? I'm still up and I'm still mobile, and I'm next to Lloyd Center. Which is good. I'm actually near the Green Line. I have one final dilemma before I go home, which I mentioned started this video when I was going towards Trader Joe's, and I was like, you know what, that's not the green line, is it? Oh, you bitch. I think that was the green line. Whatever. I need to figure out... You know, I'm grateful that Target is near where I live, but it's the only store that's close to me, and their food selection is trash. Wait, can I cross here? Oh, shit. Okay. I actually can. It's very rare that a road this wide. There's no traffic coming either way. It's very quiet. It's almost frightening. I don't know. I think we're up against Lloyd Center here. I don't know. I know where I am now. Yeah. I'm on the backside of like the Doubletree? I think that's what's called. Doubletree, Double Something Hotel. First anime convention I went to in 2008. This is where we lined up. We lined up along this wall to get through and in to get all our registration stuff taken care of. And I actually enjoyed it, even though I'm not an anime person and I felt completely out of my element. I at least had a lot of friends there. It wasn't overwhelming, but yeah, I remember. And I think, yeah, I remember us walking up here, and one of the guys in our group was a little bit of a radical. Ugh. And there's like a door, I think there's like a little gray door over there along the wall, and he just it was cracked ajar, and he was just like, and he just walked through the door and walked in to find out what was in there. And we didn't see him again, I swear, for like 20-30 minutes. I think he may have actually gotten into the hotel going that way, but that was where we went in. And then, you know, a lot of the people stayed at the hotel, and Holiday Park was kind of there has to be a big park space for people to hang out, to pose for pictures and stuff. Holiday Park was where they did that, which is right the other side of this. And come towards, here's a Max line down there. There's a Max coming this way. Okay. Yeah, so I gotta catch the green line, and I gotta figure out where I'm gonna go to the store. Because I don't want to go to Target. Because their selection is trash. Perk is, I'm getting off at Gateway, and every single one of these trains goes to Gateway, so I can just get on the red. It's going that way. So I decided the easiest thing to do is just go to Fred Meyer at Gateway. Hopefully I'll catch the 15 coming through here. Worst case scenario, I'm walking. Just getting off of the Gateway Max stop here. I always make sure to remind people when I get off here that one particular site called this the most dangerous spot in Portland. I don't agree, but that's what they said. And I made it home. I started feeling it a little bit when I finally stopped vlogging. Little tension, but about the norm of what it usually is. And went to Fred Meyer, and then like the moment I got to the bus stop, I was like, I'm gonna be waiting here forever. It's a holiday. I'm gonna be waiting here forever. And then the moment I got there, the 15 showed up, which is why I didn't do a send off from there. And then I got off and I had a bag in my hand. I'm like, I just want to get home. It's hot. So I didn't do my send off for there either. So here I am. I made it home. I'm still alive, vibrant, feeling optimistic about the future, even amidst the pounding haziness that lingers still. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I know it's these videos that I do, I'm going to be probably doing, again, a couple of them over the next 2 weeks as I continue to get this all figured out. They're probably not going to be the most entertaining in the world, but they're just, you know, it's me, it's my life, it's the present, it's life as it is for this time and place. So anyway, thank you for watching if you made it all the way to the end, and until the next video, this has been Steve the Amateur Historian, and I will see you guys next time.